how would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have executive coach Ron. So Ron, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Well, I have different steps probably than some, but for me, it's really becoming self-aware, becoming more self-aware, emotionally intelligent, so that you come across as authentic and create trust and confidence in the people that you're working with you and the people you're selling to and all of that. So yeah, developing that self-awareness, really from that place of being more self-aware, you're going to recognize what your purpose in life is. And so you're going to line your higher purpose in life, what you're here to do, in relationship to what you're offering to your potential clients or potential people. And that allows you, what you're doing to be in alignment and continue to support you in your own personal growth also. So self-awareness, purpose in life. So who is your audience is the third one. Who are you reaching out to? Who do you want to have an impact on? For me, I saw that high-level leaders can have more impact in the world, and not only in their organizations, but in the world on a really long-term basis. So for me, I want to create a more conscious and caring world. And so, yeah, let's get those leaders to help me, and we'll accomplish that much sooner. So, who's your audience? What is it that you want to show them? What is it you want to offer them? What is it you're looking for from them? And then the fourth step is you've got to be clear of what outcome you're looking for. So if you know those 5 things, then you're going to be, that's what takes you into not only being successful financially, but being personally successful and fulfilled.
And here, Ron, is where we're going to spam the next question, because entrepreneurs, we all thinking, we want to make $1 million and we're going to be okay. But as it happened, even myself, when I made my first, I don't even notice it. And actually, I made it, but I'm still empty. And now it comes a process of fulfillment, right? What actually makes you happy, and what do you really want to do? Because sometimes entrepreneurs go in business, right? Sometimes for the wrong reasons. Yeah, sometimes for me, for example, I was going to business because I was angry. My dad got cancer, he was ill. I didn't have any money to travel to Spain to see him. And out of this frustration, I decided to start a business, and I started to start the business for the wrong reason. I want to make money, right? Not for the wrong reason. It's one reason. Just wanted to make money, right? So somebody told me that real estate was a business that you can make money, and because it makes money, I started real estate. 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, I realized that it's real estate. I like it, I love it, but it's not my passion. And now you need to start all over again, sometimes I'm thinking, did I waste 10 years, 15 years of my life? So what advice do you have for the entrepreneurs, and in the level of consciousness and working within yourself, building a business? You have, especially when you are starting out, nobody knows you. Clients doesn't pay you, or pay you a little bit. Suppliers want to charge you a lot, and it takes longer. And something gets broken, and then you bring the wrong people to fix it and make it worse, and now you have to pay more. And everything happened to you when you were starting a business, when you're running a startup. And all these negative emotions, if we're not able to canalize it, to work on ourselves, they become, you're a physician, these negative emotions can turn into physical pain, and entrepreneurs can end up with an illness, cancer, or another, can show up in the body in somewhere else. So what advice or what message do you have for entrepreneurs out there that while they're chasing the money or chasing the busy making the business profitable, they don't look after the other part of the self that, if you don't clear your mind, your body, your spirit, and you don't let go of these negative emotions, maybe your body can take a hit.
Definitely can and does. I see it all the time.
I agree with you. It
Yeah.
does, right?
So your question specifically was
Specific is, what message do you have for the entrepreneurs that they are
Okay.
only worried in making money and grow the business, but they are not taking enough attention to the psychological part of the entrepreneur, and these negative emotions, if they don't release it, can become an illness. So what's your message for them?
Yeah, and be honest with you, as an executive coach, that's really when people are primarily coming to me, is they've had success, they've got financial success, they're doing well, but they kind of find themselves kind of stuck in a rut. They're still doing the same thing that got them the success in the first time, in the first place, but they find themselves kind of not able to continue to grow because they're using the same old abilities, same old techniques, same old methodologies that got them to where they are, and that won't get you further. And so,
And if you're not growing, you're dying, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's the truth is that they're stuck and they need more. You hear people talking about, well, I don't feel like I'm enough, or I'm not fulfilling my potential, and all of that sort of thing. All those are really just indicators that you're ready to evolve. And if people would see that, it's not like, oh, you're stuck and there's something wrong with you. No, those are just indicators that you're ready to grow. And to grow, you really need to, that's when that inner journey comes into play. Because you really, especially in today's business world, we're used to be so transactional, and now we're much more, relationships are personable. And that's, if you're worried about selling to somebody rather than creating a relationship with somebody, you've already lost the sale. You've already disconnected from them. And so in today's world, and it doesn't matter whether you're 40, 50, or 60 years old, and I have millionaire, billionaire clients in all those ages, it's time for them to get more deeply connected with themselves. And literally across the board, every time they do that, as they explore that go on that inner journey, become more self-aware, become more emotionally intelligent, they become more authentic, they become more whole. And people people trust them, people connect with them more fully. They develop better relationship with themselves that's mirrored in their relationship with others. And so, when you feel like you're getting stuck or not sure what to do next, or things aren't working, that's just an indicator that it's time to look within yourself to access more of who, what, and what you are. It's never that you're not enough. It's just a matter of learning how to go within and access more of who you are. And that's where you're going to access your greater abilities. You're going to literally neurologically rewire your brain for better, clearer thinking, for being able to access ideas and directions that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. And so, fear shuts us down. Being more connected and open opens you up. And that, the uncomfortable part is you really have to open up your heart, to open up your mind, to reach those levels of thinking, those levels of creativity. And that's where the success is coming from. And I see people literally, and they're very successful primarily, but they come in, and when they open themselves up and do that healing work and become more conscious and literally are neurologically rewiring their brain, they increase their productivity, the organization's productivity and profits by, minimum 40%, but oftentimes much, much, much greater than that. So you want to make money, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I think that I believe 100%, because it's whatever, building a business, especially from scratch, this is you're gonna be under so much pressure, stress, internal conversations, especially your surroundings, people surrounding you. What are you doing? Find a job. This business is gonna work. Your client, you lose your friends because you're starting a business. Now your friend doesn't have a business. Now when you go out with the friends, you're talking about something that nobody cares. So eventually you lose your friends. eventually your family doesn't even understand what you're doing, and they're very skeptical. They always think that it's better if you find a job, and that this is not a good idea. So now you are battling against, you don't have any friends, you have deep concern in your family. Now you trying to bring a product to market, and bring a product to market, have the challenges like described before, find the first client, until you build your credibility and you build your product. And you won't be able to sell it for the right price and to the right people, because you're trying out on the first place what this product is for, and eventually you sell it, and then you start to make it better, and more people start to buy it. Now you're selling the product to so many people, and now more challenges come, because now you have to employ people, and then you employ someone, and the first thing they do, they go and they steal from you. This happened exactly to me. Yeah, it literally happened to me. So that was one of my first experience when I started to employ people. And then you go back and you say, well, should I keep doing everything by myself? And no, you have to get there and employ people. So all this negative emotion, all this roller coaster of internal conversation and emotion that goes within the entrepreneur, they start to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And they are there. They haven't gone. They're sitting there. And everything that something happen in this process accumulate. Then nobody can talk to you. I mean, unless you find another entrepreneur, nobody really understand what you're going through. Yeah, the employees, if I remember one part in my business, they all was getting paid except me. Yeah, and I was saying to employee guys, we have to make this work, because you guys are getting paid, but it's not enough for me. And they were saying, well, this is your business, that's your problem. This is no, So you have this internal conversation. How can I make this work? How can I empower the team? How can I enroll them in a better possibility to grow? So nobody.
The problem with all of that, the problem literally with all of that is that's you're caught in the doingness. You're caught in the, if I just do this, if I just try harder, if I just learn this or get that widget or this program or that app. And literally, it's really more about who you are. All of those negative experiences you're having are really just a reflection of what isn't healed within yourself. And I know that sounds different, but quite literally, a lot of that emotion that you're running into is really unhealed emotions from childhood. A lot of those 100%. Problems and relationship issues that you're dealing with are really relationship issues from very early on in your life. There's old 100%. Programming going on in there. So the work is really, and it only takes a couple of months to really go in, clean that all up, begin to neurologically shift your brain so you're not at the effect of those old neurological patterns, so that you're really developing an entirely new mindset. And when you do that, quite literally, instead of the amygdala, the emotional center running the brain, the forebrain begins to take over as the conscious CEO that it's meant to be. And as that happens, all of a sudden you have a bigger picture perspective. You see the optimal path to reach goals. I mean, my first book is, what is it? I got a peek. That's all right. Overscheduled by Success. And I really wrote that for incredibly successful people who aren't doing what they really want. They're just caught in the success that they have and aren't able to really find themselves. And inevitably, what I see is once they get themselves together, and that's reflected in their organization and their relationships, both personal and professional, they begin to have more time because they're really training people to take over leadership roles, things that they felt like they had to do, that micromanagement mentality that they had. Really, they begin to trust and enroll people, and those relationships develop and people start taking over. So all of a sudden they have more time. And when they have more time, and most of them are quite brilliant in many ways, they start seeing areas that they'd really enjoy, and as they do that, I mean, I have one fellow who's got 5 9-figure businesses. He was trying to run all aspects of all of them and was going crazy, and so, I worked with several of his people. They became the CEOs, and that allowed him to really step back and not be involved in the day to day. And all of a sudden, creative guy that he is, he found one aspect of one of those businesses and is turning that into something that's going to be more profitable and enjoyable for him than all of the businesses together. So you can be scrambling around trying to be successful on one level, but missing the bigger picture and that level of success that you're really capable of, because you don't know who you are. You're not connected to yourself.
Exactly, but it takes courage, because entrepreneurs, if you think we all think that we are perfect and we don't need help from anyone, yeah. So it takes courage for the entrepreneur to start to understand that, because I was not even I was not even aware that this exists, and the business is a reflection of the emotions that the entrepreneur have, that they are having been healed. Yeah. If I tell you a story, even from this podcast, I will depress you. People that make $1 million, lost it, make $1 million, lost it. You don't know what's going on.
I see it all the time. I see it all the time.
It's clear. It's a pattern. Something is there in the mindset, in the unconscious mind of the entrepreneur that need to be healed in order to move forward. And
that literally only takes a couple of months.
Absolutely.
That's all it takes. When you find the right person, somebody that does what I do, for example, that only takes them a couple of months to really go on that journey with you and guide you on that inner journey, so that all those things get cleaned up and rewired and restructured. That new mindset begins to develop. And yeah, it takes, you can have to continue that journey.
Make a massive difference. I think that I always talk about this, right? We are started as a human being. When we are babies, everything is possible for us. This is how we learn to walk. Yeah, nobody told us, "Oh, don't try anymore." When you're a baby, you try until you walk. Yeah, and we are a winner by default. Because we made it out of millions of sperm. So we already come with this code of winning, but what happened is the following: that when we are growing, yeah, if your dad, your mom tell you, "Hey, don't hit your brother," right? Now you're gonna make it mean that you're not lovable, yeah, nobody loves you, and you're gonna build this story, yeah, around you, and then you're gonna go to school, and then you're gonna say the answer to one question, and everybody's gonna tell you, "Boo!" No. You're gonna make it that you are not smart, that you're an idiot,
and that becomes your program for getting love.
Exactly.
You come in and I've asked audiences all around the world, what does a child want more than anything else? And they all shout out love. And then I say, well, do they want conditional or unconditional love? Everybody, unconditional. And these are business forums, so everybody knows that child wants unconditional love more than anything else. What they forget to recognize is, so that child is doing and becoming all that they need to do to optimize the amount of love they can get from that, initially the family of origin, but then as they move into society, how do I get accepted and loved by others? And so we learn to shove some of our emotions down. We learn to hide some of aspects of ourselves that we don't feel are acceptable, and begin to expand on those that are. And the problem with that is that puts everybody else in charge of our life. That means that we're developing into a human being that's not really us. It's who we think we need to be successful socially or financially or whatever level. And so it's really a matter of, once we heal that program for getting love, to looking outside for that love and acceptance, and heal it so that we're looking inside of ourselves, where you can accept and really reconnect with more and more of yourself, becoming whole. That's where your success comes from. And I've worked with billionaires and they all get to the same place. I hear it every time. They go, well, that wasn't it. And what they're talking about is, I worked for money so that I'd be accepted, so that I'd be special, so that I'd be something. And they all get to that same point. That wasn't it. And it's in that transition that they really are able to go on that inner journey, become whole, become the person that they really are or capable of being. But they also see, oh, this is what I really want to be doing. They see their higher intention. And so the rest of their life becomes the fulfillment of really who and what they are, discovering it, but also leading a life that allows them to really enjoy and fulfill. And the point you made is that it's not just in business, but you see this all reflected in their family life, in their relationships.
In your health?
No, certainly in your health too. That's a great point. Because it's all of a sudden their life is better because they're not struggling and trying, they're trusting and letting. And, that allows them to come from much more, ask anybody, do you think you have your best thoughts when you're under stress or pressure, or do you have your best thoughts when you're relaxed and in that more creative mode? And so, if you really want to be successful, if you want to be successful, not only personally, but, professionally, then you've got to be centered. You've got to be able to control this mind, and you can't control it unless you can quiet it. And it's that ability to quiet the mind and really be in a present, curious place that allows you to access the best solutions, the best next steps in your life. And so, yeah.
Like the entrepreneurs, when this happen and these issues are not solved, it's that you're running a business. I mean, a computer starts to running you. It's like you are a robot. You know yourself anymore. You are, because certain incidents happen in your life, you make a story about the incident that probably they're not true. That was just what happened was maybe that your mom tell you, hey, don't hate your brother. Yeah. But that didn't mean that she doesn't love you. That doesn't mean that you're unlovable. That doesn't mean that you need to start a business in millions of pounds and you have to give away your money to everyone so then everyone give you love. And this, you see where I'm going. Yeah. Very tiny incident can make an interpretation. Yeah. And the point of the story, because, somehow this is who we are. Yeah. But we can achieve this in a different way. The other day, I was watching a documentary from Donald Trump, yeah, in Netflix, yeah, and it seems to me that all his life is around to prove that he's better, yeah, and he's getting very successful with the president of the country, but it's the main driving force of everything he did is he wants to show that he can do better. And since then, a robot, the computer, start to operate. And every decision you take, everything, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, I'm saying that it's exhausted. That I think that is I'm definitely not healthy. I mean, you are the physician here in the call, not me, but that's the issue with that. And then, it could be good, but sometimes end up with the heart attack. How many people that have 20 million, 30 million, and they call you, Harry, to remember this person? He died, have a heart attack. Yeah. I got no people, due to speaking conference, very successful entrepreneurs, and just got the news that the person died. I said, why? Well, I don't know, he was not taking care of the diet property, probably was overcompensating all the success that have the business, or was a lack of something, and then he found the food was, what is giving that.
They don't know how to take care of themselves. So they don't pay attention to all the indicators that tell them when they need to change something. And that lack of connection with themselves is reflected throughout their life.
All the areas of your life.
Yeah. When somebody tells me all the chaos of their life, it's really just a representation, a reflection of that inner self, or that lack of connection with inner self in many cases. And so if it starts there, I mean, it really does. It starts with you becoming more deeply self-aware and connected with yourself, learning to love and accept yourself so that you become more whole, so that people feel safe and connected around you. You learn to be more vulnerable and in appropriate ways, and that allows others to feel more vulnerable. They can be more vulnerable because you're more compassionate and empathetic with people. And all of that leads to higher level conscious leadership, which reads, in this rapidly changing, ever more complex business world we're in today, you've got to be that centered, capable, conscious person who's coming from that place of curiosity and being present to really handle all of that that's coming in, all that other people are dealing with. If you're rattling around, then you're just making other people uncentered, and then it just plays off of each other, and pretty much you're in a chaotic, depressive situation. I see in an organization that the CEO or the founder, all of their emotional stuff is just vomited all over the employees. They yell,
100%.
they
100%.
aren't supportive, and so.
And they have an impact in the culture of the company.
Exactly. And so if you're coming, I've watched people going through this work, they change that within themselves, and literally it changes the culture of the organization. And I mean, that could be a couple thousand people. All of a sudden it's just, all the waves go out. And that's to be honest with you, why I'm in this business, because I really feel we can have an impact in the world by changing just where those significant leaders are coming from.
Yeah, and then the other thing, Ron, is that we are. But when you go and you speak with an entrepreneur, and you say, and we talk about this topic, yeah, they are very pragmatic, and some of them have the assumption, like you said, do you know that the way you behave in your business is not your team fault, is not your staff fault, is not your product, is not the clients, is actually your business is a reflection of your internal emotions and wherever you haven't healed within yourself in the process of growing up. Plus what we were talking today, plus adding to this all the challenges that you have built in the business. When you mix this with your internal emotions and your internal things that are having been healed, then this is an expand. That's why you see people behaving like assholes out there, and it's it's because they're suffering, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, you've got to come to a place where you're being more responsible for yourself, and that allows you to be more responsible for your organization and society as a whole, because that's really where the enjoyment of life comes from, is you being a part of everything and feeling connected, and that's where your success is going to come from. If you just try harder and work harder and all of those things, but they just end up sabotaging your ability to really have the better ideas and really, graduate into levels of success and directions of your enterprise that you wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yeah, and this is to the path to fulfillment, because personally, yeah, right. You realize that that some into the wrong. You go to business into wrong assumption, thinking that you make money, you're gonna be happy, but further down the line, you will realize that money won't make you happy. What it make you happy is to be fulfilled. Yeah. And now different factors come into the question, because now fulfillment actually, in my own opinion, is happens when you make a difference in somebody else's life, when you transform and help somebody else's life. And when you have something like, for example, this very broadcast that we have in today, putting out there for all entrepreneurs and from everybody, actually, if somebody's listening to what we're talking about, and this can make a big impact in the life, in the business, into the relationship, you see, this is an amazing way that you and I can be fulfilled just by doing what we're doing today. And once you create this transformation on the people, what happens is that you get paid in a currency that is better than money. You get paid in a currency that have love, appreciation, health, good energy, good people around you, and it create completely different scenario. So
And it also results in greater income. It really does.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean,
greater income and more peaceful and healthy way of being, because we believe entrepreneurs should be they deserve to be wealthy, healthy, and happy. But if they don't recognize that we have to do the work within ourselves, it's gonna be very difficult, almost impossible, that you reach to this level of
yeah.
happy, right?
And that work starts within yourself. It is focused on you. It is self-awareness. It is self in many ways. But what happens is as you heal, and like I say, it just takes a couple of months to really get a good foundation of healing going, then your awareness begins to expand beyond this self, and you see your connection with other people, with the planet, with it becomes, you're still focused, but it's on an expanding level where you're not just taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of your organization, you're taking care of and considering the planet as you put things into the world. And that's, as you say, I completely agree. When somebody comes initially and I ask them what their higher intention is, it's usually very personal oriented. By the time even a couple of months in, I'll say, okay, so what's your highest intention? It's always about supporting others. And that is truly where the fulfillment comes from. And success on many levels, financial as well as just the intrinsic supportiveness of it.
Yeah, it's on the nature of being human being. At the moment that we are start to support and help others, I always say, don't do it for them, do it for you. Because you will find that the more you help, you support people out there, the more contribution you have for others, the more good energy, peace you will attract. You will attract the right person to your business. You will attract the right employees that will make a difference. So now you don't have to do all the job. Somebody will come to you and will be happily take all this workload from you. But from that, you have to be a piece of yourself. And I think that a bigger piece of that, yeah, Ron, is the ego that we entrepreneurs we have, right? So, I mean, we need to have an ego in the first place. Otherwise, that's the reason why we be businesses. Just we need to have a big drive. Yeah, we can do it. Let's go for it. Yeah. But that ego, if keep escalated, can get a point that, people or entrepreneurs go there, okay, this is my business. Everybody have to do what I say. I'm controlling everything. So sometimes escalate to this kind of behavior and
well, I think you have to make sure that the ego is just, its job is to take care of you. Its job is to help you work and live and work in the world. So if you're telling your ego, and you need to protect me, you need to, be in attack mode, if that's the job you've given your ego, then that's what's going to happen. But you can also tell your ego that to do the best to make me safe, you've got to support me in breathing. You've got to support me in breathing and being curious. You've got to support me in making sure I'm breathing and being present, so that my mind is able to really see, understand, and react to whatever is going on in the world in the most supportive way. Because the more conscious I am, the more that my level of consciousness determines how I see, experience, and react to everything that comes into my life. So if I'm in a higher state of consciousness, I begin to recognize whatever is going on out there is really an opportunity. And from that higher state of consciousness, I'm going to be able to see that opportunity. And as I see that opportunity, that'll tell me what my next step forward is. That's going to tell me, guide me into the success that I'm looking for.
And when you get to the point,
fear, it's different though.
Because sometimes it's this internal battle that the entrepreneur have, that they have to prove something, yeah. But whether when you arrive to the state of mind, yeah, and this is something that has been working for me very good. I'm in a stage of my life that I don't have to prove anything to anybody, and you won't believe how much peace I have when I wake up and how peaceful I live my life. Yeah. Whether I remember when building a company and trying to achieve the first million and so on, it was a constant battle and building the company. I was lucky enough that my company I started. That's what happened with ego. I started to change the ego and the perception of me, right? Like I am the boss, I'm the CEO, everybody has to do what I say to let me empower the team. Let's give them more power. Yeah, let me release some control of the company and let's get the employees to take over and to develop leadership within the positions. Yeah. And to the point that one day I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you anymore. We can run this company without you. And it was amazing. However, it was a big change, right? And it's only happened within me. It's a company still the same. The employees were the same. Everybody was the same. It just all changed. And I decided that was good idea. Yeah. Because I was thinking that I want to travel and want to do things. That was a good idea in the company that they have some ownership and they start to get involved in the company, like also they are part of them, that the company is not only for Harry, for all of them, and they embrace this culture, this mindset, and they gave me a greatest gift. They sent me home. I made myself.
And you've given them a tremendous gift too. You've given them a place that
Absolutely,
has
yeah.
a purpose. You've given them something that's of value to them because
They love it.
something that has purpose.
I
And so
remember they were loving
they
it.
give their all. They end up giving their all. So you get more out of your employees just by supporting them and connecting with and being part of what you're doing. And that does give you more time. That's why those higher
On that
level.
run, I had to surrender. I had to surrender. But this is what happened. That's actually happened by accident. But this is what happened. That when I started to hire the employees, they all were better than me and everything.
That's great.
I had to, I cannot be the person like everybody have to do what I say because when it comes to sale, my manager, they were selling the product better than me, faster than me, more expensive than me, and that was the truth. So I'm not better than them selling. Then when you go to accountants, you go to pro development, you go to other areas, I'm seeing and I see amazing people doing amazing. So I have to be, rather than upset, be happy about it. Yeah.
Of course, why not?
I took an internal work to realize that, well, I'm actually so lucky that they're all better than me. Because the company, I just need to have the right framework and to have an open conversation. They still find the value in me, yeah, because they all come to ask me, what do you think? I'm thinking about these choices, Harry. So they were always in communication, right? To find this support and to see what was my opinion about their ideas, because I built that culture that they have a problem, they need to come with 3 solutions, and they can present it to me or not, but bottom line, they have to choose the solution. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I wanted to have this culture with them, because in the end, this is actually what I will do. I don't have a magic wand. I will choose one, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So why hurry up to choose? So the more they get involved in this process, again, they give them a certain space of happiness, of fulfillment, that they come with the solution, they take the decision, and once the solution that they propose works, they were extremely happy. Sometimes they were more happy than me, because they solve a problem, they create the whole structure, and then they come to me, how do you see what I come out with, and we're doing better because of this. And I remember they were very happy. So it's what you said. But if for that, it took a lot of work on myself. I had to. Uh, and that's it, Ron. That this work that you have to do within yourself. Now, who can help you? Yeah, I'm glad that you was an expert in this area, because this is something that no one talks about. Very few people understand what we're talking about, and even less people can help you with this, because this is no. You cannot go to a psychology, because the psychology is a psychologist, but it's not an entrepreneur. And regardless that it's amazing his profession, it will or it won't be able to help you as much, yeah, because it doesn't have enough entrepreneur background. So you need someone that have expertise of this, someone like you, for example, that have been working extensively with CEOs, with entrepreneurs that understand the challenges, because entrepreneurs, we are in a certain category in the whole spectrum of human beings, that we are the 2% that take more risk, nobody appreciates, yeah, because if you go to a bank and ask for a mortgage, yeah, I got they give more mortgage to my employees than to myself. For the banks, we entrepreneurs, we are a huge risk, right? So we are the person that society sees us as a huge risk. We create the jobs, we move the economy forward, we are selling, but it's a specific type of character. It's definitely not for everyone. And to heal and to work with the type of human beings is more challenging, I would say, and complex, because some of them live in big organizations, and technically they know everything. And then I always say, there is something that you don't know, something that you don't know that you don't know, but there is a third aspect, what you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. It is,
And maybe that's really what I'm good at, is helping them see what they don't know, helping them move beyond what they know to what they don't know, because that is the answer. Once they start understanding what it is that they don't know, especially initially about themselves, then they begin to get excited about the journey. Then they become fascinated with what the possibilities are.
and I don't understand, Ron, because if you come and we're having this conversation 17 years ago when I started my first business, I won't even understand what you're talking about. You see, that's how lost we are when we start in our own business. That we can, if you're gonna say, hey, you're starting a business, yeah. Somebody the other day in this very same podcast, Jacopo, I asked him the first step to make the first million, and he said, step number one, work on yourself, even before you do the first business.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. However, when you're so young and you start a business, you don't even know what this means.
Well, maybe the fortunate thing.
Knowledge about this topic that we are talking about is very, it's not on the public domain, right? Unfortunately, yeah. Nobody taught you that in the school. Nobody, raise that healing part of the human being is a huge part, not only from an entrepreneur, for every single human being, because you see people, I seen, Ron, like women that, they marry a husband that beat her, then against marry a husband that beat her, and against marry a husband that beat her. So clearly it's a pattern that have nothing to do. Somehow they are attracting these type of characters for something that needs to be healed within a human being, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, most people don't come to the work until they run into serious problems.
Until they don't become suicidal, until they don't become suicidal, or they don't lose millions. You see, and this is when life take a hit, and you're back and start from zero. Now this reflection say, well, maybe I have to work on myself. Maybe it's me.
And it works every time. It really does. I've been doing this for years, and every client comes out really in a much more empowered, self-accepting, loving way, and
done it.
immediately turns into greater success in their organization. It really does all the time.
Other people as well. Yeah. So I'm glad. I'm so grateful for what you do. Yeah. And I'm so happy that you came for this broadcast. And I would love to ask you more questions, but I would like, I sent the broadcast today in this topic because it's really, really important. Yeah. It's key to make your first million. Key.
Yeah.
And because of the subject, that's why we want to raise awareness, right, about all the entrepreneurs out there, everyone that is listening this broadcast, that every single one of us, every single entrepreneur or every single human being, we are working with another person in this podcast said that, Harry, we all working with the limp. There is something, all of us, that we have to work with, that we have to clear. Every single human being. Yeah, it's natural. It's the process that I was saying. When we are a child, something happened. We're making mean something else. We're making so big. And you see around like families, parents and sons that they don't speak themselves for 20, 30 years. And they don't even remember what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. The important thing is what you're saying is we come from a family that has issues. We have issues, and we pass those on to our family, our children. The great thing about doing the work is then you're not passing it along to your children.
100%.
They're not coming into life with all those issues and challenges. They feel loved and accepted for just being who and what they are. And that makes all the difference in the world. You've got to go at some point, somebody has to go up into this.
To break the cycle. Absolutely.
And clean everything up. Otherwise, it keeps getting passed along.
You're 100% right. Because if the work is not done, it definitely will pass from generation to generation to generation to generation. So in order to stop the cycle, but Ron, it's difficult to say, well, there is something wrong with me, I need help. Yeah. Very few people, you need to take that ego and let it surrender, right?
Well, or you need to love yourself enough to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
That's
also part of the work as well.
Right.
Because so Ron, if someone is in love with our conversation, or our audience is in love with our conversation, they want to learn more from you, they want to buy your books. So tell us a little bit about your books. Where can we find them? And they want to access to your help, to your knowledge. How people can find you? How this process work?
Yeah. Well, the easiest way is just to go to my website at ronstotts, STOTTS.com, ronstotts.com, and they'll find there's some free information and things they can download that'll help them begin that inner journey so they can better understand how to be more successful personally and in business. And they can begin to explore, initially it feels safer for people to get information, but that's not transformation. Information is that's just more up here. The transformation is what you really need. And you have to get to a place where you recognize, I want more. I'm worthy of being more. I really do want success, and not out of fear, but out of, supportive concern for my family and others.
Yeah. So, Ron, thank you so much for the broadcast. I really appreciate it. We have a great time. And for you following this broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneur like Ron break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.